Hey, welcome to the early evening show again, man. My name's Tyrone Miller. We're here with Rick. Man, I'm gonna let him tell y'all about himself because, man, he's a top line journalist, wrote for a bunch of different places, interviewed a bunch of different people, and I'm gonna let him give y'all the quick intro. So tell them your full name, where they can find you at, all that.
My name is Rick Hazell. Corporately, they call me Ricardo Hazell. That's where a lot of my bylines are from. I'm a journalist for 25 years. Hip hop was my way in, but from hip hop I segued into film and politics and covering community and activism, like you name it. It's sometimes, it's necessary for you to diversify your your portfolio rather, and do a bunch of different things. And so at that time, it was often frowned upon. If you were doing sports, which I also did, I did work for Bleacher Report, worked for a site called the Shadow League, covered the Big East tournament for years in a row, covered the NCAA tournament, Eastern semis at Barclays. I'm a well-vetted individual.
You put your time in.
If I do say so myself. And it's funny though, currently the journalism used to be, the fourth estate, meaning that journalism was meant to balance out the executive, legislative, and judicial branches, and bring them to the fore regarding their transgressions against the people. Now, over the years, of course, it's weakened. Currently, it is non-existent.
Right.
When you think about, the fact that Jeff Bezos, who owns the Washington Post, when his editorial staff came out pro-Kamala during the election, he scrapped the entire issue. Said, no, you can't come out pro-Kamala. Right. These are the forces that are at play. So, over the years, I have had to segue into other things because, just out of this, currently I'm a ghostwriter as well for a company called Story Terrors. I've written or worked on 6 different biographical works for individuals from various walks of life. Very interesting. I talked to an individual who was born and raised in where Bosnia and Herzegovina is, and she came over to the United States in the 1930s, went to high school, I believe it was Washington High, which is downtown was downtown around 14th Street back in the day. She says she met 2 girls from Harlem who taught her basically how to be an American. And and over the years, people lose contact, and she's like, nobody's ever been a better friend to me than those 2 black girls from Harlem. And they taught me how to dress, they taught me how to talk, and I never forgot them all my life.
Right.
She said, I hired somebody to look for them, I couldn't find them, I don't know. This time.
Yeah.
Time.
Right.
So
and it don't stop for nobody.
It don't stop for nobody. So on that note, when you feel the urge to reach out and speak to somebody, go do it. When somebody's on your spirit, go do it, because you're not going to necessarily always have the type of time that you wish you had.
Word.
So that's journalism, and where I am is in a nutshell. Actually, I'm trying to segue more into literature. I'm going back to school majoring in literature. Because although I have 25 years as a journalist, some of those skills don't translate over to publishing.
Right.
And they don't translate over into academia.
Right.
So trying to make myself increasingly viable in an increasingly competitive marketplace, you got to up the ante. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, and this was across the board, white man, black man, whoever, you used to be able to leverage your experience and say, all right, boom.
Right.
I did this for 25 years.
Right.
Y'all should pay me like 85. It was known that we're supposed to pay for experience. It was a known thing.
Yep.
And now cats be coming in like, yo, this is entry level, but you need 10 years experience.
And a bachelor's degree.
And a bachelor's degree, and all sorts of wildness. So in order to continue to have the privilege of making a living as a creative and in the creative field, because it is a privilege.
Yeah, it's definitely a privilege, brother.
No matter how dope you is, it is a privilege.
That's right.
So in order to continue to do that, I have to go back to school. So that's what I'm doing right now. But, you know, as far as cultural critiquing is concerned, like you never stop.
No,
That sort of
that's
thing.
in you.
It's just in you.
Yeah.
And these days, it's. I've written many political pieces that were anti-conservative, anti-house nigga, anti-Trump, quite frankly. And like over the years, I'm just some nigga. Just some nigga writing stuff for some nigga publication. He'll never know.
Right.
But now, like, he's so petty. You never know.
You never know.
He's so petty.
Word.
He's so like, I'm going to get every little, everybody.
Anybody that said anything bad about me, I'm coming for you.
Ever.
Word.
For example, like, you know, everything that's going on at Columbia University, where he's going to Columbia University. First of all, he leveraged his power to say that Columbia University was being discriminatory against Jewish people for allowing the Palestinian protests on the campus.
Right.
So, and it was $400 million, the fine he's leveraging.
That's not a small fine right there.
But go back in time, back in the day when Harlem was beginning to get gentrified, and rest assured, you make no doubt that area was considered Harlem, like black people Harlem, that area by Columbia University.
Right.
So when it was getting more and more gentrified in the early to mid 90s, Trump owned property in other places in the city, and Trump offered them the property for $400 million. And the number $400 million.
Yep.
And Columbia turned him down. So that's how petty he is.
Yeah.
$400 million for $400 million. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, to be a journalist these days, and to be, like, for black people, journalism has always been activism. And so, you know, when you come into the modern stage and the birth of the podcast and the birth of the blogger, and, you know, you want as many voices as possible. However, with the internet allowed, there's a proliferation of agents and vultures and people who don't agendas and people who don't really like black people, but they're in the game. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wrote for back in the, oh man, I'm about to.
Yeah, do it. You already there.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
I wrote for not all hip hop. Those are my boys. Yeah. Hip Hop DX. I wrote some of the first reviews for them, first articles for them. You know what I'm saying? The dude he's an Indian, he's in like a South, I'll say not Indian, but South Asian.
East Asian.
Right. In that
East
area.
Asian, South Asian.
Right. And when the site first came out, when you go to look at the founder of the site, it had some Americanized version or Anglicized version of the name. Something like Bobby Apple or some shit like that. And, you know what I'm saying, when I met him, I was fine with it. I realized, okay, fine. And, you know, but over the years, I realized that, you know, he fronted for a minute to get audiences, getting black people to co-sign his, you know what I'm saying, go ahead, sign his brand.
Right.
And they was paying us $10 an article then. $10 an article.
You got to do a lot of articles.
Nah, it was a pleasure though, because I remember, like, at the time I'm 22, 23 years old, and you just want to advance the culture, and we also have this thing of believing that everybody who has melanin is automatically an ally, and they're not.
Yep.
We have this thing. We got this thing.
Yep, we do. We do.
Oh, that's my man. Oh, turn it down. Oh, yeah. Oh, we want to invite them to the cookout.
Want to bring everybody in.
Want to bring everybody under the tent, and I'm all for that. But it's like, we be feeling them a lot more than they be feeling us.
Yeah.
Like, and then when this shit come out in the wash, you be like, oh my God, I can't believe such and such said such and such. And
Word.
Like, he's a fucking cracker.
What do you
mean you don't believe? 1 and 2.
Right.
Can't stand your black ass. 1 and 2.
Yep.
Now, I get that from the election. where I'd say 1.2 compared to 0.8 Americans voted against your black ass.
And that's a hard pill to swallow.
It's a hard pill to swallow
for a lot of people.
But
Like,
and then they say, "Oh, well, why are you bringing up race shit?"
That's what that's what this is. This is America.
This is America.
Yep.
And then, like, you look on the news, like, it's like when people don't know about their history, they think that every time somebody is saying something is coming out of left field, and black children are completely uneducated and anti-revolution, quite frankly.
Yeah.
They're like, they just want to sit around, listen to Dreezy, do TikToks and all of that is fine. And they're different from us. We had a different soil. Like, we used to go and buy tapes of Farrakhan interviews and buy tapes of James Baldwin interviews and buy tapes.
Right.
Put them in our box, sit on the porch or the stoop or whatever, and the block is listening to Farrakhan speak.
Yep.
The block is listening to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad speak. The block is listening to MLK speak, and we were into that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Over
time, things have changed significantly, and I don't blame anybody. It's hard to maintain momentum when the whole environment is anti to the message. The very air is anti to what you're saying as far as black liberation. You know what I mean?
That's right.
The every molecule of this place is anti-you.
Yep.
And so when you're not educated on that, things will seem like they came out of thin air, like Trump. Trump didn't come out of thin air.
No,
he just stoked the fires of what's going on. And then you go to Kamala. Kamala, she was a better candidate, not as good a politician.
Yeah,
she kept it too real. They wanted to sorority us to death and black girl magic us to death. Once you made your point on that, move on to other points.
Right.
But they did it throughout the campaign, and they've been talking about, well, do you got hot sauce in your purse and all that goofy pandering shit? But 80% of us, 90-something% of us voted for her. Anyway, 80% of black men. I believe it's 92% of black women. You know what I'm saying? But this is the stream that we're fighting against. This is, the COINTELPRO. This is the crack in the hood. This is the, let's make ketchup part of the lunch menu in the 80s. Like, so we could cut funds.
Yep.
Like, these are these devils. And then you call them devils, they cry wolf. Like
something wrong with you.
Something wrong with you for calling them a devil.
Yeah, and you ain't lying.
And it really does something to your constitution of your internally.
Your spirit.
Your spirit. So
absolutely.
Either you accept it or do things brilliant to fight against that idea. Because they said sticks and stones will break your bones, but names will never hurt you. That's not true. If you introduce an idea to a living, cognizant being enough, that idea is going to sink in.
Absolutely.
Like,
if that's all you hear.
That's all you hear. That idea is going to begin to sink in. And so you have to, so even if you say, no, fuck that, I'm not like that. Right. I'm not like that. I'm not like that. I'm not like that. But the idea is hammered home into you. So you can't say I'm not like that. Now it becomes a matter of action. So now you have to do brilliant things.
Right.
Like you're doing.
In whatever space that may be.
Right. And it cancels out that negative energy. But it's like, pardon me for the shades.
No, you good, bro.
Like bright, like as I get older, bright light really affects even outside. So no, it's not this, but I'm gonna take them off so people don't think I'm trying to be incognito. Some super fly.
Nah, ain't nobody think that, man. If they did, that's wrong. That's on y'all. Y'all was projecting. Y'all was just projecting, man. You put your glass back on you want, brother. Be comfortable. Don't be uncomfortable. You was dropping jewels, brother. Like, don't let keep doing what you was doing.
And it's funny. It's funny. And it is funny that I say that because I just said that different messages absorb into your constitution and was referring to the greater white supremacist construct. But me taking off my glasses is another thing. That's a hood thing. To where, they trying to stunt. He trying to, that nigga, look at his big ass hair. He think he trying to be fly, ha, 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 ha. And so now it's like, let me calm down a little bit. Let me take the glasses off. Let me turn my hat around and sit up straight because I don't want, I'm not being cool the way other people be cool. Eat a bag of asbestos dicks. Like I grew out of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, be you, no matter who you is. As long as no women, no children, no old folks is harmed. Do you?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
But
so talk about how that worked in journalism, because now, like you talked about being at Hip Hop DX when you was young, and then you realized how some things was moving over there.
Yeah.
How was it being at the level of?
I didn't. Pardon me. Just to clarify, I was writing freelance for them when I was young. I didn't realize that It didn't dawn on me the manner of symbiosis, if you will, on the culture.
Yep.
Until then, until more recently. So at when I introduced, I went back for a position, and the interview I did was horrible because I expected a level of familiarity, and when I said, "Hey, what's up, such and such," speaking to him in his anglicized name, he responded, "Oh, my name is such and such," and that threw me off.
Yeah,
because I expected a level of familiarity, and he kind of pushed back on it, and I fumbled the rest of the interview. So, but I still did work for them, and I am appreciative of them for several years, allowed me to make money. But its fact still remains that was a symbiotic relationship on the culture that didn't give much back.
Yeah. But you said you realized that more
recently, maybe within the last 3 or 4 years. Because quite frankly, I had love for the dude. Because whoever helps me get money, I got love for them. But in business circumstances, they helped you get money because you can help them get more money.
Like they use you. They're using your blackness to benefit whatever it is they trying to do.
Yeah.
And talk about the relationship with that in journalism as a whole. Like, because I'm sure
everybody does it. I remember when I was still in L.A., Ice-T was at if you recall, back in the day, Ice-T was big on every black household having a computer. Every black household should have the internet. And he was on it. He was trying to create some sort of new app to encourage black households to, be more on the internet, and he spent money on it. I don't know what happened to the project, but at this particular time, we were at the Black Business Expo in Los Angeles. I think it was the LA Convention Center, and Ice-T was there. I'm somewhere else. This white woman who worked for ABC Radio, I knew her from doing press junkets. But Ice-T was there to cover hip hop. So I'm there by myself. She comes and grabs me, pulls me into the interview to sit next to her. I'm thinking she's doing this just because she wants me to talk to Ice-T.
Right.
Before she asks a question, what's his real name? Where is he really from? Like, she didn't know anything about the dude.
She was using
you.
She's
using my familiarity with the subject matter. And she's at fucking ABC. At the time, I was with EUR Web, and it had just started, maybe 2 years old. So, you see,
man.
Right.
Yeah, like I can relate to that,
You try to pretend like you was doing me a favor, but in essence, it's because you don't know anything about this. The same white woman did the same thing at the Best Man press junket, asking me little things about, black culture and Nia Long. And so, speaking of which, at the same Best Man press junket, Doc Long, teacher Trent High. We all love Doc Long. That was. He made me see that. He was one of the people that made me see that speaking properly in the written word is so fucking black that
they try to make it, they want to put out examples of stupidity, but our nature is intelligence and articulation and dominating this language and using it in a manner that no other human being in the world has ever used it.
Right.
Like some of the greatest orators in the world are black men, like not even just black Americans, black men, period.
That's right.
Greatest orators in the world. So, you know what I mean? He taught me that. So when I'm in the press junket, all the black journalists are sitting around, some a couple white, because they had white people covering black events, because why hire a nigga to cover when we got somebody white who would like to go too?
Right.
So, and I'm in there, and we're just sitting there talking, I'm nervous. It's like, oh, Nia Long is going to be. I was like, Nia Long? I was like, her father is my teacher at Trenton High. I didn't know it at the time. But Nia Long and Doc Long, back then, they still had some contention. I didn't know that.
Right.
Because I wasn't trying to get nobody's business like that. I was like, Tanya Hart is the journalist that I said it to, thinking that, oh, she's the OG. Soon as Nia Long sat down. Oh, Ricardo here says that he went to a high school where your father taught.
Oh,
bitch!
No, she did.
Bitch!
No, she did.
Bitch!
Oh, man. No, she did.
Nia looked at me and just, you know that look she gives people?
Oh,
I said,
oh, man. It's Nia Long on top of
on
that.
top of fucking that.
On top of that.
On that.
Of all
whole
people.
shit over, man.
Yeah,
Broke
bro.
my fucking heart,
Oh, man.
Broke my heart, but learned me a lesson about the game.
Just
don't tell nobody
nothing, bruh.
Don't tell nobody nothing, man. To this day, it sickens me. I'll see a Nia Long photo and I hesitate before I like it. Like, she's still beautiful.
Damn, she's still so good.
She's still Doc Long's daughter. She's still beautiful. She's still her friend. Like,
oh, man.
Broke my fucking heart,
I
man.
believe it. I believe it. Then she threw you under the bus.
Threw me over the bus. We was at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. I never forget it, man. So, yeah, man, I got a gang of stories like that.
Yeah.
And, I've been writing a book. And that's another thing. As a black literary individual, you look around the scope, and it's seemingly, if you're not careful, you'll be led to believe that nobody cares about written stories about black men anymore.
That's a lie.
Like, right? But if you believe, if you look around, because everybody who's getting big upped, like they're women, peace to them. My black women have been dominating black literature for decades.
Yes,
peace to them.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? But it seems like nobody really, like, because a lot of brothers don't read, and our reading rate is getting worse and worse and worse. And not only do a lot of brothers don't read, they don't like to see themselves in a manner that's antithetical to their own masculinity. They don't want to see themselves abused, or they don't want to see themselves in word taken advantage of, because in their minds, you're just feeding into the propaganda and the destruction of the black man. And to a certain extent, I understand that, but we gotta talk about these things and get them out there. We gotta talk about the auntie molesters. We gotta talk about the nasty church deacon filling out the choir board. We gotta talk about these things, and we resist so much that when we grow up and go out into the world, we be all uptight and angry. So then when we get out into the cities that we live in, a lot of us wild out and go deep into that thing that was denied to us.
That's right.
Go deep into it because they felt like, it was an affront to whoever they were taught to be.
Right.
And when they realize it wasn't, sometimes moderation isn't. And then they go in a spiral. That's a negative side of that. Right. So from a philosophical perspective, like I said before, like once you reach a certain age and you've gained a certain level of knowledge, nobody should never be able to tell you. But then it becomes arbitrary. On a personal scale, you decide that. But on a societal scale, it becomes kind of arbitrary because a lot of people still dumb in their 60s. And then there's some people that are brilliant at 15. Who determines who gets to do what when?
Right.
Like, so it's hard. It's hard to govern self, let alone govern people. So you know, on that note, I've learned, and also having 2 special needs children. I have my oldest, Nico, that has autism, and he's nonverbal, and my next to oldest, well, actually, my youngest, Ricky, he also has autism, but he's verbal and a bit more able to do things. I'd say that having 2 kids with special needs has made me more understanding of human struggle and human plight,
Right.
and the reasons why people do certain things than I think about any other factor in my life, including being black in America, which in itself should lead to a lot of understanding,
Right.
as far as the plight of people. But you know, it is just all a part of growth, and it's all a part of, you know, becoming more and more who you are as you go along. And I feel like I am becoming more and more of who I am as I go along. So there's equal parts excitement and equal parts trepidation. It's like you trying out for the all-star team.
Right.
And it's like, all right, I'm nice, but these niggas is nice.
Yeah,
too.
everybody nice too. So I don't know, then you start questioning yourself, start doubting things,
Yeah,
start
you can't,
thinking
right,
and anxiety.
And perspective. Perspective is how we see the world. We are wonders of existence. We weave reality together using our eyes, our ears, our nose for smell, our mouth, and we use our brain as the lens to focus it. And it's just each reality. My reality is adjacent to your reality, but they're not the same reality.
They're not the same. And we could grow up in the
And
same
then,
house,
right.
same room, same everything the same, but it could be two totally different perspectives.
Right. So perspective matters. Perspective matters to why one household member, one black household member voted Trump, and another household member didn't vote at all, and another household member voted for Kamala. All in the same black house.
All this, right.
Perspective. Some perspectives are missing parts of the picture that were essential to coming to a particular conclusion. But who's to say whose perspective is missing something?
Right.
And this is where we get into arguments and dialectics and philosophy, and who's to say? Like,
it's different answers to that question for each person.
Right.
And that's the hard thing. Like being black in America, bro, like, you know, like you just was talking about, we all going through that same struggle.
Right.
But we all have different perspectives on that struggle. You know what I mean?
Right.
So who's right, who's wrong? Because I'm like, I don't know about you. I be feeling that way about Trump supporters. Like black Trump supporters, I be like, what the fuck wrong with them?
What's
I can't understand
this.
Yeah, I don't know where you coming from.
I don't know
with
where
this.
you coming from.
Right.
And I've watched the videos and trying to listen to them explain their perspectives, and like all of it is like, what in the hell? It's like, who was it? Larry Elder. Larry Elder is a commentator who's over the years has said some really crazy things. I wrote an op-ed article in EUR Web that was anti-Larry Elder about 5 years ago, and I got some death threats from some old Uncle Ruckus niggas. Never was really
sure.
I was, well, you're not a real man, and if I was,
man.
like I feel like putting my address there, because like, what's up?
Right.
But ain't nothing ever came of it. But what was my train of thought?
We was talking, go ahead.
Okay, so, you know, nothing ever came of that article. However, more recently, Larry Elder was on the Breakfast Show.
The Breakfast Club.
Well, probably the Breakfast
Yeah,
Club.
I know Joe, but
Which I don't watch.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that later on. But he was on the Breakfast Club, and he's speaking with Charlamagne the God, and Charlamagne the God is like, you know, but they're talking about racial things, and he was like, I don't believe in that racism exists in America, and like he believes that black people should thank Donald Trump. He said that Donald Trump's election was a gift from God. Like, he says the wildest shit ever.
again, like you were saying,
But
Perspective.
who's to say, right? Perspective.
'Cause for him, that's probably bringing him in money, a little bit of power. He putting kids through college. Also,
He's putting kids through college based upon some shit that's like super fugazi.
Yeah.
And all the facts say is wrong.
Right. And maybe he fooled himself into believing what he's saying is right.
Same thing with Candace Owens. Candace Owens, like, you know, it's like none of that shit she's saying is actually factual, but she's getting paid for it. And, you know,
made a living
off of it. I can't see how much she's made, but I'm pretty sure she's averaged better than $200K a year since her MAGA ass kissing stint began.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So perspective. You know what I mean? I personally can't do that. Maybe my morals
I
are,
mean,
you know what I'm saying?
That's how I feel.
Maybe my morals is bad. Like raised in a household with a single black mom. My grandfather was my father figure, so you know the Christian influence to do the right thing, and he was obvious that he was doing the right thing. He brought his daughter with her 4 kids in to live with him in his house. Like after my grandma died, he didn't have to do that. You know how many granddads wouldn't have?
Real talk.
Wouldn't have? How many stink meaner ass granddad?
Yeah.
He can't bring up damn nigglings over here.
Eating up all the food.
Eating all the goddamn food. Goddamn it. My Social Security on it, $300 fucking dollars a month. I can't stand you, little motherfucker.
Word. All day long.
Right. But my granddad was not like that. And a lot of those old trained granddads was really fucking cool, man.
Cool as a fan. They'll tell you what you needed to hear.
And then, all right.
Yep, and be done with it.
And be done with it, man. I miss those old dudes, man. We're supposed to be those old dudes now.
Yeah.
But we're all over the country because Trenton can't afford to support us all.
No,
It can't.
And Trenton ain't nothing there for us.
It can't.
Like
and that's what I mean. It doesn't have the soil to support all the brilliant minds that came there. Not even half of them.
Right.
Half of them.
Right.
If half of the brilliant minds that came from Trenton moved back to Trenton right now, if those resources were there in a matter of 5 or 10 years, a lot of those hoods will be revitalized.
Yep.
Completely, naturally.
Yep.
Because you're bringing your brains back.
Yep.
You're bringing your engineers back. You're bringing your doctors back.
Yep. You're bringing your journalists back to get out the right stories.
Even though Peterson News is doing
Peterson Breaking News, yeah.
They're doing an excellent job. Peace to Peterson Breaking News for a long time. It was just a Trenton Tony and the Trenton Times, and you could wipe your ass with those. You know what I'm saying? As far as how they cover black people. So peace to Peterson.
Word.
But
shout out to Thomas Peterson.
Word. But yeah, man, I got so many stories, like we could be here forever, and then I get into the particular point to where, I don't want to toot my own horn, which fucks you up in this industry. Because people
you gotta toot your horn. You better toot your horn. You ain't gonna get nothing.
You're not gonna get nothing. Like, I don't know anybody. Like, all right, I'll holler at you. I ain't gonna holler at that nigga. That nigga don't know nobody.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you trying to play humble.
Yep.
Man.
No, look, man. That's why That's why this outlet is here. That's why this platform here. Because I be wanting people to come up, toot that horn, bro. Because we don't get enough spaces to do that. And I'm like, I encourage it. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. Just the Neil Long story is fire. You know what I mean? Like I
got thousands of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I be thinking about writing a book. I could write a book like an anthology, but then that doubt comes in. Like, I'm the original dirty kid from Trenton. Who the fuck wants to?
Oh, they want to hear it. I want to read it.
Exactly.
I want to read it. There's a million and one people out
that's
there.
The devil. That's the devil. That's that seed that the devil planted.
It is.
It's true. There's a lot of people that want to know, man. I got some wild ass crazy stories, man.
Right. We're gonna end with one more. We got 4 minutes left. Hit us with one more for the road.
What's the other wild crazy story? Oh my God. I don't want to say anything that's like.
Okay, there it was. You got it.
Terrence Howard, because I was on the concert of Best Man, right?
Yep.
Terrence Howard, like we're at the press junket, right? Terrence Howard comes to sit down. I says, yo, because he plays the guitar in the movie. I said, I'm just trying to. You really play the guitar in the movie? And you really play the guitar? him, you know, the look he has on his face, like, I'm going to show this nigga.
Yeah. Hit it right quick. Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And we're talking, but because it's a round table, which means that anybody can jump in with any questions. And with journalism etiquette, and you've been doing this a while, you know when to jump in. When
Right.
there's a pause, boom, you jump in and ask your question. You rarely follow up. If you follow up, you're being a dickhead.
Right.
Like, oh, to follow up on my last question, when you know the clock is ticking.
Yeah, you know everybody
want to
trying
ask.
to get something.
Right. So, you know, we're sitting there and everybody's asking their questions. So somehow the concept of something comes up about his intelligence. I think that was me again, because actually there's a bunch of intelligent black men in the film, and I brought that concept, that brought him up. He's like, yeah, well, why should you feel that there wouldn't be any intelligent black men in a movie? I, for one, graduated from Michigan State University with a degree in engineering. I believed him.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Yeah, you sound like, you know, the fuck you talk. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, this light-skinned nigga, yeah. Power
Yep.
to the light-skinned. Word. He gets some, and I had my tab. I had my tab. And he gets up from the table. He leans over and says, always believe in Jehovah God first. I thought to myself, you bitch ass nigga, you trying to play me? You trying to play me
he was
in front of the white people?
Oh, yes, he was. Yes,
And
he
I
was.
just was like, and then come to find out, and I didn't know this until years later. Matter of fact, pretty recently. And they ain't go to fucking Michigan State fucking university.
Oh,
and
so
get
you
no degree.
believed him in
I
it?
believed
Yeah.
him. That nigga got a gift for gab, I tell him that.
Hey, man,
But-
everybody got one. Well, not
Yeah,
everybody,
man.
but people that
But
got
people
it.
got it. I believed him. And it revealed, it only revealed that he lied to me recently when he came up with that bullshit mathematical equation.
Yeah,
and
I
he
seen that.
He said he went somewhere else when he was talking about that. Gonna find out he ain't go fucking nowhere and graduate from nothing.
Yeah, see.
You see,
But,
like
bruh,
lying for no
and that's,
reason.
again, perspective.
Perspective.
It always
Maybe
go
he
back
thinks
to it.
somehow, like he lived across the street and like the beams from the school came
yeah.
to the window at the stroke of midnight and
Right.
radiated into his brain and the phlebotomy. Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck? I don't
bruh.
know. Perspective.
Bro. It always go back to that, man.
Word,
But yo,
word.
look, we was gonna have a journalism conversation, but
Yeah.
that kind of was second, man. You was just dropping jewels the whole
Man,
time.
I don't even be thinking they jewels. It's just
Nah,
stories that
man.
kind of piss me off when I
Hey,
think about
they stories and jewels all rolled into one, man.
Yeah,
So look,
man.
y'all, Ricardo Hazell, tell them where they can find you
Yo,
at.
you can find me on Instagram at Rick Ryder Renegade. You can find me on Facebook at Ricardo A. Hazell, or where else am I? I ain't on Twitter no more, but you can find me on Threads and anywhere where fine Negroes are posted.
Word. Anywhere, you got to put that in the chat. Anywhere fine Negroes are posted.
No. Oh, also my most recent work at All Hip Hop. Please to Chuck Creek, man. That's my guy. Word. All right, one.
All hip hop, man. Hey, give it up for our guy Rick, man. Thank you for coming through, bro. It was a pleasure.
Yo, I had a
Always
great
good
time.
stuff, man.
Yo, I had a great time.
Hey, yo, don't forget, this is for you, brother. From Young Vets, got the hat, the keychain.
Oh, we sporting this, yo.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, yep. Young Vets, you getting it right quick in a hurry.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Look at.
Yo, hold on.
Yes, sir.
This shit. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I like that.
Hey,
I
man,
like
all
that.
you, brother, thank you again.
All right.
Early evening show, Tyrone Miller, man. Thank you again. Ricardo Hazell, man. Check out all his bylines. Check him on social media. It's been a pleasure, bro.
Man, I had a great time.
Oh, my man.
Peace, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.